So glad you could join us for this Wednesday's 3 Good Minutes. A few days ago, I was in the grocery store. A man picked up a package of sausage that was reduced for quick sale and started to talk to me about what a great deal it was. I don't know about you, but I find it disconcerting sometimes when a stranger approaches and starts a random conversation. I find myself wondering about motives. Our cultural tendency is to be polite, of course. I listened for a moment to what he might cook with that sausage and then responded to him by politely exclaiming in a friendly voice that he indeed found a great deal and could look forward to a nice sausage dinner that evening. And then, setting a quick nonverbal boundary, I moved on with my grocery shopping and headed up another aisle, but he seemed to want the conversation to go further. Now, I'm fully aware that people can and do prey upon our culturally ingrained inclinations to be polite. Some folks who approach us do try to sell us something, scam us, look for a pickup, or maybe even worse. Yet sometimes people are so lonely and desperate for just a little conversation, just a little human contact. It's hard to know how to proceed sometimes, how to balance being a Christian with being simply wise. Typically, I act on the advice that I used to give my young daughter. Be friendly, but not necessarily encouraging. Don't be rude, but set a boundary and leave if you feel uncomfortable. Actually, I did feel uncomfortable with that unsolicited interaction. My intuition, which is an extra sense God gives all of us for good reason, told me that this man may misread any further attention I might give him. In other words, suffice it to say, my intuition told me there might have been danger there. I came across an anonymous quote the next day, conflictingly juxtaposed with my recent grocery store interaction. The quote read, "Always leave people better than you found them. Hug the hurt, kiss the broken, befriend the lost, love the lonely." I love that quote. I think it's generally really good advice in most contexts. We can and should do that in our churches, in our homes, in our schools and neighborhoods, and yes, with strangers we meet in grocery stores. But we also need to set boundaries because we may quickly get the sense that some will want more than what is in fact appropriate. One of my most formative seminary professors used to say that we must listen to our intuition, which he called belly button knowledge. It will red flag us, he said. I think of another grocery store encounter I once had. A young cashier was weeping as she rang up my purchase. I quietly asked her what was behind her tears, and she spilled it out. I realized I had about a minute to help put her back together again so her manager wouldn't see her crying to customers, and so that she could complete her shift. I quickly asked about her faith. Yes, she was a Christian. I asked her to think about how God had brought her through previous troubles. She nodded, yes, God has always brought her through. Why wouldn't God bring you through this one, I asked. As I plugged my credit card into the machine, I prayed aloud, quietly, for her ears only. God, I pray for my new friend today. Please guide her through this crisis as you have all the ones that preceded this one. Surround her with love and comfort and give her strength to get through this shift right before her. Then I gave her my card and I invited her to call me later, though she never did. She smiled, took a deep breath, and started to scan the next customer's order. Always leave people better than you found them. Hug the hurt, kiss the broken, befriend the lost, love the lonely, and listen to your belly button knowledge, that deep place of intuition. It will red flag you if necessary. Amen.